It's Tuesday. You know what that means. I almost tripped over my tongue like Mercedes Moné on a Wednesday night when she first debuted for AEW. My God, my tongue got in the way. Anyway, it's Wednesday, as I've already said. It's not. It's Tuesday. I really messed up the introduction to this whole thing, didn't I? I'm human. The rumors are not true. I am human. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's time for Ignition with the AEW Fan Hub podcast team. We got a lot to talk about tonight. You can see it up on your screen if you're watching us on YouTube Live. We're going to talk some WWE releases, Black Friday. We're going to talk about the Ospreay and Mox dynamic, the AEW Dynamite Preview, if you will, and a whole lot more. So let's go ahead and get started. This is Kelson.
Hey guys, this is Tunchi. Just a reminder, Kris Statlander will defend the EVE International Championship against Miyu Yamashita at Big Penny Social on Friday, June 5th.
CMLL, hey, this is Barry. CMLL and New Japan present Fantastica Mania 2026 at Arena Mexico on Friday, June 19th.
What up, it's Shane. Tickets are now on sale for Forbidden Door. The event will take place on June 28th, 2026 in San Jose, California. It's going to be warm out there. Get your tickets today. And Kelson did not make this graphic for the record. It was AI generated.
I don't know if it was it's the AEW official graphic.
No, that's the official graphic.
It is the official graphic.
It is the official graphic.
Good evening, Eddie Kingston. This is Jess, the conglomeration's own stone pitbull Tomohiro Ishii. Brought flowers to an emotional Saki Kashima during her retirement celebration at Stardom's All-Star Grand Queendom this weekend. How nice of him.
Hello, everyone. This is Val. When asked to name a wrestler she would like to face that she has never faced before, Charlie, formerly known as Dakota Kai, said she would like to wrestle Willow Nightingale. That's one is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And how about me? Not only did I mess up the introduction, I totally did those news things out of order. I'm proud of you guys.
Threw me for a loop, buddy.
Oh, my
threw
God.
me for a loop
Sorry
there,
for
pal.
I even have
Sorry
the
for the
number
AI
1,
thing.
2, 3, 4, 5. I put number 1 right, and then I skipped right to number 4, I think it was.
It's like, what the?
Great
who the,
job,
where the...
Kelsey. Great job.
Hey, you know what? When your personality is 80% good looks, the other 20% for intelligence struggles. That's
we messed up on the spot and had to start calling it in the ring there. Huh?
You know what it is? It's a kafabe.
It's a kafabe, is right.
Kafabe.
Well, you look. I think the biggest news story of the week has been WWE's Black Friday. We actually had in chat. Let me put this back up on the screen. And Chris, welcome, Chris. We had Gerard Garcia, 8501, says, I really hope Motor City Machine Guns goes to AEW real soon. Dynamite and Collisions at Detroit on July 29th and 30th. Perfect timing since their 90 days ends on July 23rd. Really good point, Gerard. We're going to talk about some, not all of the releases from Black Friday. And but before we get to that, I do want to make a little bit of a statement on behalf of myself, and I'm sure a lot of the people in the AEW Fan Hub community, including those of us that are on the podcast. Look, we don't like to see people lose their jobs and their livelihoods. It's a bad thing, and we're going to do some speculation on where we think that some of these wrestlers may end up. And I know that for the wrestlers that were released, it's probably a very trying time in their lives, filled with uncertainty and doubt even. And we just want to let you know that we are behind you. We wish you the best of success and that you go and do something that is beneficial and prosperous to you, for you. Again, we're just going to do some speculating here, and I apologize if we say anything that may offend you. I don't think we will, but you're human, we're human. You may take offense to something that we say, and that's all right. You know, just know that we are behind you and we want you to succeed, and that is sincere. So let's move on. We're going to talk about some of these releases, and I think the the one that probably has the most interest is Kairi Sane. She was in the midst of a pretty darn long story in the women's division in WWE and got released out of nowhere. Now, some people are saying that, you know, and when I talk about people, I'm talking about people like Dave Meltzer, Sean Ross Sapp, Andrew Zarian, those kinds of news outlets are saying that part of the release may have been because she really wanted to go back to Japan. Others are saying that, you know, maybe she's retiring. I don't know. Or some are even saying it's a work, similar to the R-Truth thing. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Where do you think Kairi Sane is going to end up, and why?
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Val.
Because I just saw a tweet that she posted like an hour ago. I don't remember exactly, but she's thanking the fans. She said that she was not quitting. She did not quit. So, but if she's going back to Japan, that's good for her. That's where she's coming from, and she wants to be with family. I understand. I completely get it, but I'm crossing my fingers that she goes to AEW, and I'm sure that Penny will play a big part in her coming to AEW, because I really want to see her with some of the women that AEW has, like Willow, hopefully Tony, Mina. So I think she will kill it there.
You know, one of the things, Val, that I wanted to ask you, and of course everybody can answer this, to anybody that says that they think that she's going to go back to Japan, where in Japan? I mean, Japan has basically three big options. They have some smaller options, but the three big options would, of course, be Marigold, which she has a little bit of a friendship with Rossi Ogawa there. The second option would be where she came from, Stardom, where Natsupoi at All-Star Grand Queendom this past weekend wore the gear that Kairi Sane gifted to her. You know, so that's something that kind of stood out a little bit. The other place is Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. I mean, TJPW, I don't know if she's ever wrestled there before, but it's an option.
Well, I'm not very familiar with the Japanese wrestling scene over there in terms of, you know, women's wrestling. So last week we talked about Forbidden Door and we talked about Stardom. I don't know anything about Stardom. I'm sorry. I know I need to learn, but is this where Tekla came from after she got fired?
Tekla did come from Stardom. The one thing that I will say about Stardom is they held their All-Star Grand Queendom pay-per-view this weekend, and people are always saying that AEW's pay-per-views are too long. Well, Stardom said, hold my sake. I mean, that thing, I saw the sun go down and come back up when I watched that thing. I was wrecked Sunday all day Sunday because of that. The thing started like 1 a.m. basically and ended at nearly 8 a.m.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch the show, but I saw Walker Stewart, who did commentary for it, mentioned that it was 6.5 hours of commentary.
Yeah. Well, they did have like they did have a 0 hour. But anyway, let's get back to Kairi Sane. Guys, who else has what do you want to call it? A resting place? Not a resting place. That sounds like she's dead. Landing place. That's what I meant to say. Resting place. Rest in peace. Jeez, I'm sorry.
So sorry.
I was gonna say, like, of those options that you mentioned, Marigold actually isn't really very old. It's only like what, 1-2 years. She would be a great veteran presence there to really help them, like, take things to the next level, I think. Especially since she said she has friends there.
Yeah, the only thing about Marigold, I don't know if you keep up with Marigold, but Utami just retired. Mayu Iwatani is injured. Looks like it may be a lengthy injury. Then you also have Victoria Yazuki, who is injured. Utami was the ace of the program, basically. Marigold has nothing, and they're struggling. Their viewership is down. Their audience is down. It does make sense for Kairi Sane to go where, basically she came from with Rossi Ogawa, even though Rossi Ogawa was with Stardom at that time. But yeah, Marigold was a no-brainer maybe last year. This year, I'm not so sure.
I mean, she'd make an immediate impact if she did go there, and obviously they could use that talent, But like you said, they are struggling. So I think Stardom is the likely landing place, but Marigold is definitely a possibility. Could be that she sees they need help and decides to go that route.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Rollins.
First of all, I don't like that she was released. I was really interested in the story with her and Io Sky and Asuka. They're still doing the match between Asuka and Io at Backlash, but it just doesn't feel the same with Kairi Sane not being there. But Kris, you said the word impact. Do you think TNA could be a realistic option for Kairi Sane?
No, honestly, I think if it's not Japan, it's AEW.
Yeah.
I could see why people are saying AEW, but for some reason it doesn't quite click for me. I can't exactly give you a reason, but for whatever the reason is, her to AEW just isn't quite there for me. I think it makes more sense for her to go back to Stardom. She's already familiar with Stardom. They're familiar with her. So to me, that makes the most sense. I wouldn't be upset if she came to AEW, but for some reason, I'm just not with it.
Mark, by the way, Marcus, the entertainer in chat, said she was a Rossi girl. I could see Marigold in her future. I could see Marigold too. I just would have seen it better last year in relation to this year. Who's next? Who has opinions on Kairi Sane's landing place?
I've kind of taken the course of treating this almost like the NFL draft. It seems like she has the resume to kind of go wherever she wants in ring, but who's willing to give her what she wants? She, I think, deserves pretty much anything. Money or the ability to go place to place, country to country. So who's willing to give her that? I think it's AEW and Stardom partnership. But ultimately, she kind of has the hats in front of her and chooses it like a high school senior on signing day.
Yeah.
Eloquently,
eloquently put. Yeah. To me, I would imagine it would be like the reverse. Like maybe she signs with Stardom full time and then is shared with AEW because they do those shared contracts. But I would imagine she'd go back to Japan.
Yeah, but the other thing you have to consider, look at Megan Bayne, Shane. I mean, Megan Bayne, since I think October of last year, has wrestled 11 matches in Stardom, and these were not just one and done matches. She's participated in tournaments. She participated in the tag tournament. She had a really, really good pay-per-view match this weekend. She faced Shuri for the IWGP Women's World Championship, and frankly, that may have been the match of the evening or the morning, so to speak. So, with the partnership, as you guys have said, with AEW, if she goes to Stardom, we likely will see Kairi Sane in AEW. All right, who else wants to go?
Can I just say one thing, like just in general, before we like get too deep into this? I don't really see anybody going to TNA because the way I see it, TNA is WWE in all but name.
Right.
So like I don't really see anybody landing there unless WWE didn't really want to get rid of them in the first place.
Yeah, well, since nobody else is going to, that's a good point, by the way, Jess.
I just thought I would throw TNA out as a possibility. I
Sure.
don't think you can
Sure.
just summarily dismiss TNA altogether.
No, it's definitely a possibility.
I mean, the people that started with WWE might want to stay with TNA as kind of like a cushion, maybe like a door open.
Right.
Well, you know, my thoughts on Kairi Sane is this. The woman, and I mean this in really respectfully, the woman has got probably the best body of any women's wrestler I've seen. And when I say that, I mean that she is fit. If you look at her as a physique, you know, she is fit. So she is made for that style of wrestler. Her insane elbow is one of my favorite moves of professional wrestling.
Me too.
She is custom built for AEW. The question is that does she want to stay in America? Look, Kairi Sane is 37 years old. Okay, she's not a young woman, but that's why I bring up that she's so physically fit that even though she's 37, she wrestles like she's 26 easily. That's where I was getting at with that. But the point is that at 37 years old, does she want to go home to Japan? But the other thing to consider in Japan, if she was in Stardom or Marigold, they wrestle like 3 times more matches than they would in AEW or WWE per year. I mean, where you would get around 33 to 40 matches in AEW or WWE a year, you're going to get about 120 to 130 in Marigold or Stardom. All right, so that's the big thing. Of course, now, one of the big things is she is good friends with Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah.
They're really good
friends.
Who
is a year older than her, by the way.
Yes, so that could be something interesting to bring into it. When it comes to what Rollins was bringing up with TNA, it really kind of makes sense with this next group. This isn't a one-person act, but it is a tag team, the Motor City Machine Guns. A lot of people are speculating that they may go to TNA, but a lot of people are saying it's a done deal. They're going to AEW.
Yeah.
I want to see them in AEW.
Yeah.
Like, I want another Young Bucks Motor City Machine Gun match. Sorry, Jess, go. I know you want to.
I want them in AEW so bad.
Did you guys see the response to the speculation on social media? They plugged their band. They're like, yeah, we've been at a band. Got a 4-track EP coming out. Check it out. Like that they're going to AEW.
Oh yeah, for
Tony
sure.
Khan is gonna throw a blank check at him. He's been trying to get him. He's scared that he's gonna lose him if he doesn't get him now. It's all about the Benjamins, baby.
Yeah, we gotta right that wrong from that weird all-out tag team match where it was like FTR and Wardlow, I think it was, against Motor City.
FTR and Wardlow versus Motor City Machine Guns and
Jay Lethal. Like, we gotta right that wrong. I want to see straight up FTR versus Motor City Machine Guns. Hell, make it a triple threat and include the Young Bucks in there. That match would feed families.
Put the guns in there.
Yes. If the guns can stay healthy.
Where did that come from, the expression, that would feed families? I don't know. Looking at these two guys, they don't look that tasty to me.
That's what you think.
Yeah, and Saban's got that weird, flavor.
Cool.
Who was the one that mentioned Detroit? Because they'll be at the Masonic Temple again, and I plugged this the last time they were there. Yeah, I as a Metro Detroiter growing up, Masonic Temple's a great venue. I think debuting them there if they sign them is good. I don't think they're going to be as expensive as people think.
No,
Where else are
I
they going
think
to
they
go?
want to come
Like
to.
who's going to? Yeah, where
Yeah,
else are they going to go?
Yeah.
I really do see him staying. I see him going to AEW because they should have done it in the first place. And I think they know that now. Um, but there's so much talent to work with. They're not even the established ones. I want to see them go against some of the newer talent and see what they could do too.
I lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry, MK. You'd said something and the thought disappeared. Never mind. Oh, I remember what it was. Yeah. So I understand why they signed with WWE. I mean, they're up there in age, and it was going to be their only shot. So I understand why they picked that. Maybe over AEW, they'd worked AEW already. But I don't know if I would look at these guys as a long-term deal though. Either they're up there in age. I would have a hard time like a 3-year deal. I think maybe a year. I don't know. I don't know what they're looking for, but I think there's some value in them. Like others said, there's some good matches in there, and you can plug them right in the tag division. They won't miss a beat.
Now in our chat, Marcus the Entertainer said Motor City Machine Guns will be in AEW. They're the most AEW ready act of anyone.
I agree.
So there's that.
I agree. And remember
seeing the news.
And remember when AEW was founded, the Young Bucks said they wanted to have the best tag team division in the world. And if they secure these guys, sky's the limit.
Anybody else with that? Does anybody think that that the Machine Guns aren't coming to AEW? Let's put it that way. Yeah, I mean, based on what everybody is saying, literally almost everybody is saying that they're coming to AEW. You're going to be hard pressed to find somebody that disagrees with that. So I want to move on because the next one, I'm going to kind of surprise you here because I don't think that a lot of people know this guy, but we're looking at Apollo Crews. And I'm going to give you my opinion on this. I believe that he's going to go to Dragon Gate because that's where he came from. That's his home. He considers that his home. I believe he does. If he came to AEW, he would be a perfect fit as the third wrestling member of the Hurt Syndicate. He's 39 years old right now. He is that photo that's up there right now that you're looking at doesn't really show it, but he is built very similar to Bobby Lashley. He is one scary looking dude as far as the size of him. So, and I believe he's 6 foot or 6'1". So he's not like a small guy with a big body. He's a fairly big guy. So what do you guys think? Does anybody that's familiar with Apollo Crews think that he would be a good addition to AEW?
That's a good one. I'm not sure.
I don't know, man. I'm looking for needle movers, and I don't see Apollo Crews being a needle mover. He may be good at an enhancement talent and maybe work some stuff down in Ring of Honor and help out down there. He was in Ring of Honor at one time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I just don't think it's what we need right now. He's a good talent. He'll find a home. I don't know where, but I don't think AEW is the right place for him.
Yeah,
I kind of agree.
Go ahead.
He'd be a good addition to ROH. He'd be fine as the third member of Hurt Syndicate, but I think they need a younger talent. He'd be good. Dragon Gate seems like a definitely place. He can work the indies for sure. He'll definitely find a landing spot. I think he'd get lost in the shuffle in AEW and even ROH.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines. He's a friend of mine's neighbor who lives down the street from my buddy, and from what I understand, him and his wife and their family are super super nice. But the men's roster in AEW is really bloated, and it's got to be somebody special to come in. He has been in the mid card in WWE for so long that if he showed up, it's not like a debut of some other folks that had some more main event rub. I don't know what gap he fills, and I don't mean that if there weren't other people there on the roster, he wouldn't be a value add. But with everybody on the roster, I don't see what gap he fills. Tony wants to sign him. It's his money. Do whatever you want, man. But I don't see the value add with him.
Anybody else want to chime in on Apollo Crews before we move on? All right, then. Well, I think this one's interesting. The next two are kind of interesting. I'm going to save one. I'm going to save the one I think is going to get a lot of response for last. So let's go to Alba Fire. She is a terrific wrestler. Came over, spent most of her early years in the UK scene. Came over, she's been basically the Secret Service for the last several months in WWE, but she's really good. But in my opinion, if she were to come the AEW way, I think that she would probably be in Ring of Honor, initially at least, because Isla Dawn is in Ring of Honor, and Isla Dawn and Alba Fire were tag team champions in both NXT and WWE. Get that band back together again, and I think they could go some places. But I do think that of the people that were released, I really do believe Alba Fire was probably the most underrated, and she's probably one of the best ones that was released as far as wrestling goes. I really do believe that. Anybody have an opinion on Alba Fire?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, she's in her early 30s along with Isla Dawn. And I think the women's division can use a little more depth, especially in the tag side. They're a natural tag if that's something they wanted to do. One of the things that bothers me is when folks just assume they'll like pair back up with old tag partners. People say the same thing about Johnny Gargano. Oh, if Gargano comes in, they'll team him back up with Ciampa. Well, what's to say they want to be in a tag team again, you know? But should they want to do it, I think that's an easy add. And that's a quality team to add to that division too. They both got good chops. I enjoy their in-ring work as well.
Right. All right, move on. Let's move on because we still got two more to talk to. We got a lot more to talk about on tonight's show as well because we got a loaded Dynamite. But I wanted to bring this group up because, well, I don't know. The Wyatt Six. There's some interesting names in here. Now, I have heard that Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, is probably going to retire. Word is that before WWE brought him back, he was probably going to retire then, but he wanted to come back for his brother, to pay tribute to his brother. Now that that's obviously over, people are expecting to retire, but there's some names on here. Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, or Eric Redbeard, if you will. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't know, man. This was one of the bigger ones for me. Loved the Wyatt Six. Loved Bray Wyatt. One of the few guys that had a little bit of insight into creative and what he did with that faction, even for this variation of it, was fantastic. But yeah, big rumors. Bo Dallas is retiring. If I were to call the ball, I would say Loomis, MLP. I would put Redbeard and Gacy in GCW or Ring of Honor. Redbeard spent a lot of time at Ring of Honor. And then Nikki Cross, she's a professor. She could do whatever she wants. Love to see her over in Stardom. I think they could get really weird with it over there. I love Dexter Loomis. Love to see him in AEW, but I don't see any of these guys landing in AEW.
I actually see Nikki Cross coming to AEW. I think she would fit in perfectly, especially when you have the Triangle of Madness with Tekla, Sky Blue, Julia Hart. She kind of fits that. I'm not saying put her in that group necessarily, but we've seen Toni Storm. She's great at playing roles. You know, I think Nikki Cross could play a character and fit in perfectly with AEW.
I like Dexter Loomis. I think he'd be an interesting fit. I like his look. I think he could do some things. I don't see him being a superstar here, but he's a bigger guy, and we need some bigger guys. And he's also a character. I don't mind Rowan, but Rowan's been here before, and he's not anything super special for me anyway.
Was Rowan on the roster though? I think he just came in as a as a tribute to Brody Lee, basically, and had a couple of dark matches, basically, but he was never part of the roster.
Yeah, he was per
Yeah,
appearance.
as far as TV, I think it was just a one-off on the Brody Lee tribute show. He may have done, like you said, some darker elevation, but
yeah, I mean,
Dynamite Collision one-off.
He did a dark.
I'm pretty sure he was on a 0-hour match at Revolution maybe a couple years ago.
Well, if you say he was, I believe you, because Rollins, you know your stuff.
He tagged with Danhausen on a dark.
Okay. Well, I want to throw something out with Eric Rowan. Good friends with Brody Lee.
Yeah.
Dark Order.
I'm thinking the same thing.
Could we possibly see Eric Rowan as the new leader of the Dark Order and maybe resurrect the Dark Order or Ring of Honor?
They don't need a new leader. They have a leader. His name is Brody Lee Jr.
And he's off fighting Joey Janela. So
and he's 14 years old. So
he's 14 years old, and I wouldn't mind Rowan. I think tagging him with Brody Lee would be better than.
Alexander the Great was 12 when he started conquering the world, so whatever.
Yeah, I've been on record a couple times. I loathe supernatural gimmicks. I don't want to see any more magic in AEW. So I don't. Just like with Apollo Crews, just like with Apollo Crews, I'm not sure what gap any of these performers fill. I'm sorry, what is the name of the female wrestler?
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross. I'm not very familiar with her. I've somehow managed to miss basically everything she's done in WWE. From what I understand, she is a good worker, and they could always use depth in the women's division.
She was the superhero.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the gimmick, but I've never watched her, is what I mean. So Dexter, I don't see value in.
Almost a superhero, you mean?
Yeah, Rowan. I mean, I don't see what gap any of them really fill. So.
Nikki Cross is the one I could see in AEW. Admittedly, I have not seen a lot of her main roster work, but she did great stuff in NXT, and she's really great with the character stuff, and one of those who can play all types of characters. Kind of best with the crazy, almost deranged, but she can do comedy and other stuff very well.
Y'all are sleeping on Dexter Lumis. Man, he absolutely murdered the indie scene. And he is a great character wrestler, especially when he's doing a behind the scenes silent killer part. He ran the indies with that character. He was amazing. I would love to see him in AEW, but he's probably not going to be there.
Yeah, Marcus the Entertainer said absolutely not on any member of the Wyatt Six. Look, when I look at, hey, Shane, you said something that's very pertinent with Nikki Cross. She's a professor. She literally is a professor now. She got her degree. She's another one that could go home. She's not American. She's
Scottish.
She's Scottish. I thought that's what I was thinking, that she was Scottish, but I wasn't sure. She could definitely go home and make a lot of money doing something that's not going to break her body. Not saying that that's what she's going to do. And if she wants to wrestle, great. But, it's just, she has options. She has options, put it that way. Let's move on. I think this is the last one, if I'm not mistaken. It is, and this one is somebody near and dear to everybody's heart here. I'm not going to call him Alistair. I'm going to call him Malachi Black and Zelina Vega. Oof. You look at Malachi, and part of me is like, is this another Andrade situation? No. And you look at Zelina, and Zelina is terrific. She really is. I do enjoy Zelina. But I don't see either of them returning to AEW. Or I don't see Malachi coming back to AEW, and I don't see Zelina in AEW. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
Hey,
then go have fun in TNA.
Hey, newsflash. The AEW's already actually made an offer to Zelina Vega right now, and I think it would be in the best interest of AEW to bring back Malachi Black. I think he's fantastic. The whole grass is greener argument, dude, touch grass. Like, seriously, touch the same grass. Like, the dude planned on being booked like crap, kicked off of a Mania match. Like, and plus he left AEW on great terms. He literally like a class act on his way out the door.
The way he left AEW, Shane, did it remind you of the way Andrade left AEW? Because it just seemed to me on both of their cases that their contracts were not up yet, but Andrade wanted to save his marriage and Malachi wanted to be with his wife. I think that's why both of them left to go to WWE. And now that Andrade's divorced and Malachi's wife is no longer with WWE and they're both free agents at the exact same time, how do you think that plays into it?
I mean, you got Karen Cross and Scarlett like parading all over the indies. You could stick them there in the indies for a little while and maybe be smart enough to run that, but I don't know. I see them both coming over. I can see it. I think it would be great for AEW.
I think Backstage doesn't want them back.
They didn't want Andrade either. And look how good.
Well, but Andrade was different though. Andrade didn't do what Alistair did. I could see Zelina Vega. I like her better, but I think Malachi put his foot in his mouth on some things and just left a bad taste in people's mouth. And we don't need him. It takes a lot for MJF. MJF spoke about it. Others have also. So I don't think they need that toxicity back there. But if they do come back, I think they need to be on a extremely short leash and make them earn it.
I have to make a point. Do you think that MJF's character, rather, would waste his time acknowledging Malachi Black if that wasn't supposed to be on the radar? I mean, like planting the seed. MJF, like, dude, is working everybody at all times. I don't believe that.
I don't.
I don't know, man. Kayfabe's not dead.
What I will say, during his original stint in AEW, one of my favorite feuds that AEW did with him was for the TNT Championship against Adam Copeland, when he was wearing, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Copeland's wedding ring as a necklace. Correct? Wasn't it Copeland's like wedding ring?
I don't remember that at all, Rowan.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he
remember the feud,
stole
but I
his
don't remember.
wedding ring and was wearing it like around the chain. I think that's what it was.
Okay. But for some reason, I just really got into that feud. I loved when Cope brought back the Brood and he was going down those creepy stairs and he's like, Malachi. So I think if he came back, I think he could make it work. People got into him, especially with the House of Black. Brody King is killing it right now. If you put the two of them together, I think that would be great.
Rollins, I think you're more likely to see if Malachi Black does come back to AEW, who would be partnered with Buddy Matthews before he got partnered with Brody King.
Maybe.
I was a Malachi
Either way,
fan.
I would like it.
I would turn my channel.
It's a Malachi fan. The first time he was in, I even brought a sign to his show saying push him as a singles competitor. Watching the end of his tenure in AEW and watching him in WWE, the fire doesn't seem to be there anymore. Again, I don't see what is missing in AEW right now that he fills. If he wants to work indies, and I don't know what he's going to want to do, but I don't miss him, and I don't have any interest seeing him show up again. And I don't know what he's going to bring that we didn't get the first time. And again, I'm just over the supernatural stuff. I like him as a performer. He's got a really unique skill set. And when he wants to go, he can do magic in that ring. All the other stuff, it's just like,
He's just so hit and miss for me.
He can be. He
I mean,
can be.
going
But
through the
again,
motions.
the roster's so bloated. Who do you take TV time away from? And that's where I look at with the male competitors far more than the female competitors is like they got a lot of really good stuff going right now. And I don't see who we need to take off TV to make time for him.
Yeah, that I gotta agree. Like, would he be a solid talent addition to the roster? Absolutely. He's
Yeah.
good. He
Yeah,
you
for
know he's
sure.
good promo, good, but there's no there's no space for him right now. Like you said, who do we bump off in favor of him? Because you don't bump off of Brody King when he's got this, you know, uh,
Right. Basically
uh
what Barry just said.
yeah, there's just
Yeah.
no place for
Well,
him.
Kris, let me ask you a question. Malachi Black, dual contract with NJPW. Do you see that working?
You know, I could see that working, and I could see him doing very well in New Japan,
I'd enjoy that
because
too.
he wouldn't have to lean as much into the supernatural as much as he could lean into the kind of like evil, sadistic fighter kind of role. Because I mean, like the dude has a legit, I want to say Muay Thai
Yeah.
background,
Hmm. Yep.
maybe, and I think kickboxing as well. Like he's got that legit striking. He would get over in New Japan for sure. I I actually really really like that idea, and I think they'd respond to Zelina Vega as his manager, and you know she could work in the women's division in AEW very well.
You know, Chris, ba- based off what you were just saying, I actually want him in AEW more because of that MMA background. I think that is missing a little bit in AEW. That's just my opinion,
Right.
though. And I also like what you were saying about him not so much doing the supernatural stuff, but being more evil and sadistic. We've seen how well that works in AEW. So if you bring somebody else in who does it, it's just gonna get elevated that much more.
You know, that crazy idea. I want him to come to New Japan and take over House of Torture and make it legit. Instead of making them crappy, cheap interference heels, make them sadistic bastards.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see where both Malachi and Zelina end up. I do want to move on because we still got quite a bit to talk about. Not much time to talk about it on. And I do want to give the AEW aspect of this AEW podcast, equal time. So let's talk about the dynamic between Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley. This is something that Rollins is literally about to explode off of his chair.
Me too.
Because he wants to talk about it so bad. So, Rollins, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to throw it to you. You go ahead. Take your time and let it fly.
First of all, I was not expecting it to go in this direction, and I'm frankly loving it. And this might be a bit of a hot take, but currently, across all of wrestling, I believe this is the best story. Because there's so many directions it could go. Moxley wants Ospreay to become a weapon, basically. Whereas Kenny Omega in that backstage segment was saying, like, no, you need to become the top wrestler that everybody knows you to be. And we saw United Empire and Death Riders have that crazy match. So there's just so many different directions, and we don't know where it's going to go. Is Ospreay going to turn heel and join the Death Riders? Are they going to continue this feud and have some type of crazy match at Double or Nothing? I don't know. I absolutely love this. Again, this might be a hot take. I think it's the best story going across all of wrestling.
I
Yeah, I
think it's
agree. Go ahead.
I think it's
Go.
exactly what the Death Riders are. I
Mhm.
would go so far as to say that they're not a heel group. I think this is almost a pivot because Jon Moxley is undeniably badass. The mercenaries of Pac Claudio, and Marina are over. And John Moxley's breeding a better wrestler to, I think, just have fun and go fight him again. Because Moxley's just sick like that.
I really enjoy this storyline. I usually don't. I've been fit, when the Death Riders first started, I hated him. I've said that multiple times, but after All In, I've kind of grown on me, and I like how they switch back and forth. I see him being a unwilling participant and not unwilling, but learning from Moxley. And this is kind of like the Bionic Man where Mox can rebuild him. And I really do want to see Ospreay turn into a different type of wrestler instead of just the high flyer and the assassin. That he could be a more ultimate, complete wrestler.
I'm a big fan of some of the new narrative stuff they've been doing. Last week, 2 weeks ago, they did some really cool narrative stuff. I thought this was a really, really cool narrative thing they did. As somebody who studied film and video production, I really appreciated how they set things up. It felt like a spy movie. And to me, what I think this is leading to is Mox helping Ospreay realize he needs to toughen up because he needs to be the guy. And Mox is preparing him to be the guy. And to be the guy, you got to get through Mox, the ace of AEW. And that's where I think this is going. I'm hoping it leads to an Anarchy in the Arena, Double or Nothing. But I'm super stoked, and I thought how they paid off him being kidnapped was really cool, and I'm looking forward to the next segment. Jess, you try to chime in there?
Yes.
Yeah, go.
I've mentioned a couple of times in the past, even during the dark times, I was the lone Death Riders apologist because I could see Mox's vision. Mox's vision is to make AEW a better place by any means necessary. You may not agree with those means, but that is his ultimate goal. And I think you're right. Sees Will as the future and wants to make sure he toughens up and doesn't do stupid things. Like he's made a point of telling Ospreay he's too emotional sometimes. He wrestles hurt when he shouldn't. I don't think it was a kidnapping so much as it was a rescue and maybe a bit of an intervention. At least that's how Mox sees it.
But Jess, look, first of all, when you were being the Death Riders apologist, it was very annoying. Just gonna say it right there.
Jesus Christ.
He was right there with you the whole time, Jess.
Oh my God, it was so annoying. I just like somebody, mute her mic. But no, if Will Ospreay doesn't show the energy and wrestle when he's hurt, whatever else you said, then he wouldn't be Will Ospreay. AEW needs Will Ospreay. They don't need John Moxley's version of Will Ospreay. Huge mistake.
But I think they're going towards Ospreay having some sort of anger block.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is pretty much in line with Barry's, but I see Will Ospreay is more of like a Pokemon trainer, like running around collecting gym badges so he could level up himself and how he trains. And Moxley is more like the end of the Elite Four. That's the last piece that he needs to be the very best he ever was.
See, Ospreay can get violent. Like I've seen it before. I don't know if anyone else watched the feud between United Empire and the War Dogs in New Japan, but they got freaking violent and bloody, and that cage match they had was insane. It shortened careers for sure. I mean, so like Ospreay has that in him. He damn near killed Kota Ibushi in one of their matches. I mean, he almost paralyzed Daniel Bryan. Like he's got that in him. Like he doesn't need to become Moxley. He doesn't need to become a Death Rider. He needs to be what he is, the guy who is going to fight even when he's hurt, the guy who is never going to back down, the guy who will go into a fight even when it's 5-on-1. Like Ospreay is a baby face who can unleash that edge when he needs to.
But there's not enough Moxley in this conversation. Like, yeah, Will Ospreay's all the great things, and yeah, he's missing pieces, and yeah, he can't get the big one, but like, Moxley has obviously picked him for a reason, and they're clearly I don't think he needs to be a heel to join the Death Riders, and I also agree with whoever said that I don't believe that the Death Riders are necessarily a heel faction. I think that Moxley thinks that he has something to give Ospreay, and I think he's threatened by Ospreay in the same terms. So I think it's like an internal Mox thing. You see him always wanted to take down the big guy. Ospreay's the big guy to him now.
To that point,
like
Shane.
what you said, Shane. Sorry, Kelson, but I like what you said there, Shane. Barry, I think you also kind of said it, so I'm gonna agree with both of you. In that you're right, the Death Riders aren't necessarily heels, and Moxley, you guys are also right about this, that he's always kind of been the final boss in AEW, whether he's the world champion or not. If you want to get to the top of AEW, you got to go through Jon Moxley. I think we saw that with the likes of MJF. We saw that with Hangman. We just saw it with Darby. We saw it to a certain degree with Swerve. Maybe not quite as much as some others, but I would still put Swerve in there. And I think he's trying to do the same thing with Ospreay here, where it's like, okay, you couldn't get through me at Dynasty. I'm going to give you the tools to where if we have round 2, here are some things you need to work on. Like, it's almost like he's being the mentor, but he's also like, I'm the final boss. You want to get to the top, you got to go through me.
Right. To the point that Shane made, just want to bring up that Marcus the Entertainer in chat said, the Death Riders now feel more like the original version of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Too.
That's always been, but that's always been the message. Same thing for the Death Riders. They just took it they took it from a different angle because the Blackpool Combat Club thing didn't work.
Right. Yeah. Well,
no, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I do. Let's move on. Because this is rather interesting because I think that this is actually a better story than the Death Riders and Will Ospreay. I really do. And that's the comeback killer, Willow Nightingale. She's really going through some stuff here. The question is, who's next? I mean, she's already taken down, Hikaru, Shida. Who else did she take down? Camille. But we've got some people that are coming back, like Mercedes Moné.
That's the one.
No,
You've
it's
got
not.
No.
Britt
No, it's
Baker.
not.
It's Britt Baker, 100%.
Britt Baker, who, by the way, I don't know if you were watching the NFL draft, but Britt Baker was shown prominently on the NFL draft in the crowd during the draft. Then you also have people that are not necessarily with AEW that could come back and do some stuff like Dakota Kai.
Yes.
Stuff like that. So I do think that this is an interesting story that is building toward somebody is going to eventually come back and beat Willow Nightingale.
She squashes Mercedes in 33 seconds.
Yeah, but no.
No, I just see
Over
Mercedes
under.
going for the high title. She doesn't want that TBS title back.
That makes sense. That does.
I don't know who it's going to be. It's going to have to be an up-and-comer. I wish Athena would take it, but she's never going to leave Ring of Honor. So
Shane, why do you think it's Britt coming back?
Because it's time. I would like for it to be Britt. I was being a bit cynical, implying that I think she should be squashed. But I mean, Britt Baker for a period of time was, the big gal in the locker room. I think it would be a good starting point. Maybe not necessarily like a title match off the rip, maybe a qualifying match. So, or that she doesn't lose clean.
Shane, let me ask you a question specifically. peak Britt Baker when she was the women's division. I think that we can all agree that when it was peak Britt Baker, she was the women's division at that time. Where would you put that Britt Baker in this women's division? She's, I don't know. That's kind of an interesting.
I mean, I fantasy book everything to death. I would bring Monet and Baker back at the same time. You got broken versions of both, and then every time you get them on screen, they're competing against one another. And I wouldn't throw them at the TNT title either. This is like this should be like a world championship thing for both of them. They've had their time in the sun in both directions. Yes, thank you, TBS championship.
Yeah, well, let's face it. The downfall of Britt Baker was that match against Mercedes Moné, because she just could not keep up with Mercedes. It was bad. It didn't matter because you could tell that Mercedes was frustrated in that match. What was that? All in, right?
They didn't put Britt in a position. That was not a good match to put her in.
No.
That
was a mistake, I think, on Tony's part.
If you're going to come back, you have to be able to hang with everybody, and I don't think she's done good since she's lost that title to Thunder Rosa. Really, she really struggled after she lost the title.
To come back off a layoff like that and to be thrust into that match, I think was a mistake. They should have eased her in.
Yeah, Marcus the Entertainer is saying that Mercedes Moné will not be back until the summer. I have not heard that, but I don't know if that's a fact or just his opinion. And then he also said, my hope is that Britt Baker does come back. And then he also says, I would put Britt Baker right back in the mix. So I assume that means for one or both of the titles. So
am I the only person who doesn't really like this story? I mean, the reason I don't like it is like somebody makes a return. When somebody makes a return from wherever, injury, being somewhere else, a break, what have you, they're always going to come in on like with a certain amount of momentum from their return because people miss them. Nothing like an instant loss on your first match back to take that wind out of your sails.
Well, Hikaru Shida lost and she came back and she's relevant right now. I mean, and we're going to be talking about Hikaru Shida here in a couple minutes. As a matter of fact, let's move on to previewing AEW Dynamite because there's some big matches on this AEW Dynamite. There's 3 title matches on AEW Dynamite tomorrow night. Before we get to AEW Dynamite, of course, you're listening to AEW Collision Ignition. Boy, oh boy. Does anybody else want to take over the rest of this show? Because my mind is just, I'm showing my age. Anyway, you're listening to AEW Ignition. Tomorrow night, right after AEW Dynamite, join Conrad Cushman and Derek Shelton on the @EPW Show YouTube channel for their AEW Dynamite review. It's a lot of fun. You will enjoy it. It's very interactive. They have a lot of good opinions. They have a lot of good fun. It's just the 2 of them, but they do pay attention to the chat in YouTube chat, and they will interact with anything really that's said in the YouTube chat within reason. Give it a listen. They're a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and talk about the matches at AEW Dynamite, starting with Darby Allin and Brody King. Does anybody give Brody King a chance in hell of winning this match?
I wish.
I wish to.
It'll be a great match.
Yeah, I know it'll be a great match just based on their previous matches. These 2 work really well together. They do a great job of the whole, big man, small man kind of, Darby having to go to extreme lengths just to get Brody down to a knee. It'll be a great match, but the ending feels a little telegraphed, I guess. Like Darby Allin's gonna hang on to the title by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah.
The lights go dark. Malachi Black hits the low blow. Brody King, King loses with the 1, 2, 3, baby.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what? Not to be Mr. Negative here, but I do not like that Darby Allin is defending the world championship every week, because it's clear that he's not going to lose to Brody King.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's getting to the point already, even though we are very, very early into this run, it's turning into an Orange Cassidy with the International Championship. It's preposterous. It really is.
Well, like I said last week, you look at Darby's TNT title runs. It's the same thing he did. He defended show after show after show until he was worn down and got beat. Like that's Darby Allin as a champion. He is going to defend against anyone and everyone, and then the right heel is going to take advantage of him being worn down.
Yeah, but what I meant by the Orange Cassidy, I absolutely love Orange Cassidy. I do. I hated his international title run. I thought it was the dumbest thing I had ever seen in my life. And the nail in the coffin was when the count out on the apron to Lance Archer. That was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
That
AEW.
Can't be the dumbest thing you've ever seen. There's been far worse stuff in pro wrestling.
When it comes to any type of title match in AEW, that was by far the dumbest thing that I've seen in a title match in AEW. It was horrible. And it was week after week of Orange Cassidy getting the absolute crap beaten out of him and winning 90% of the matches with the last minute fruit roll up. And I just don't want to see this thing happen with Darby Allin. If he does this week after week after week, the AEW World Championship is going to lose accountability.
I think that's a stretch, but there's a short-term ticking time bomb on this, so it's not going to be the type of run that OC had. I agree with others. This is Darby's character. He said he's going to defend it a bunch, and I think the story with him is he's going to stretch himself too thin, and when he's at his weakest, that's when MJF or whoever is going to strike and take the belt off of him. So for that storyline to work, he has to run himself ragged, and that's his character. So it makes sense he's going to throw his body on the line. I think it would be against his character if he didn't.
Yeah, well, we haven't heard from everybody. Does anybody think that Brody King is going to win this match?
No, he's not. But I'm interested to see who's going to be next, because the match that Darby had last week was insane, was 5-star, and I loved it. So I'm curious to see each week up until Double or Nothing who's going to step up, and we're going to see some amazing matches from Darby against whoever it is.
I'm interested to see whether his Double or Nothing opponent is revealed either this week or next week. I don't want it to stretch out to where his opponent for Double or Nothing is revealed a week, maybe 2 weeks before Double or Nothing. So I would like to see that revealed sooner than later, put it that way. So we have some play between that. Let's move on to the TNT Championship match between champion Kevin Knight against MJF. Does MJF even need this belt? This is a weird matchup in a good way, but it is a weird matchup.
MJF is better than Knight in the ring? Come on.
Yeah, come on. Kevin Knight is absolutely no.
Yeah. Not leaps and bounds. Yeah. Okay.
I think the most
important dude.
Sorry, Marcus. I shouldn't have spoken and screwed up your train of thought. My apologies.
To be fair with Kevin Knight in regards to his promos, he's not a guy who's done a lot of promos. Like, most of his time was Indies and New Japan, where you're not getting a lot of mic work. Even like with the post-match comments in New Japan, yeah, they're in character, but it's not like but you don't have that back and forth promo. And I mean, when you're going up against MJF, you got to be tippy top of your game. But as far as in the ring goes, Kevin Knight is phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to this match. I think the most important thing will be listening at the beginning to see if they announce it as a 60-minute time limit or a 20-minute time limit. Because if it's 20, draw all the way.
Interesting. And in the chat, Red Fox, welcome Red Fox, said he, meaning MJF, is going to put Kevin Knight over. He is a former world heavyweight champion. And then he further went on to say, I want to believe that Speedball is going to watch Kevin Knight's back. Marcus the Entertainer said MJF is better than Kevin Knight. Knight is still missing the little things in the ring, kind of what MK said in the chat. Red then went on to say MJF is out there helping him. The feeling of each other, it's only going to help him in the end, Kevin Knight. So it looks like, Red is saying that MJF is there to put Kevin Knight over. Marcus is saying that MJF is simply better than Kevin Knight. Look, to me, they're two different styles. MJF and his style is fantastic. Kevin Knight is fantastic in his style. They don't wrestle the same style of wrestling, so that's one of the things that is predominant in AEW.
I think MJF is still tied in with Darby. I think he's still going to be in that story. And I don't see him bringing a TNT Championship to that table in a double champ situation.
No, to his credit, MJF does have a way of making, whether you like him as his character or not, the fact of the matter is that he is top notch when it comes to making his opponents look fantastic in the ring. I have to give him that. And I think MJF is a fantastic wrestler. But I think he's actually very good at being the champion, the dominant wrestler, but still making the other guy look good.
He understands beating, just random people and beating them decisively in the end doesn't make him look like this dominant champion. It makes him look like he's specifically facing a bunch of tin cans. But when he has these competitive matches and comes through, it's like, okay, he really is the best wrestler.
He's also the dirtiest player in the game, similar to what Ric Flair used to be.
MJF is a complete performer, very good in the ring, fantastic on the mic, good physique. You can't create a wrestler to come up with a lot better than him. I wouldn't be shocked if this was something that MJF wanted to do, to work with Kevin. Clearly, they're behind Kevin as a future star. The only way to get better on the mic is to get those reps. Looking back on his promo, I thought the first half was a little shaky, but the second half of their interaction, especially, I thought Kevin Knight was very strong on the microphone. And I'm really looking forward to seeing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. I don't think this will be a straight competitive 50-50. They'll find a story to tell, and I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Barry, I just want to expand on what you said. I got one thing to say. MJF is incredibly consistent as well. I mean, from day one back in the Indies. I mean, he's sellable everywhere. He is, to me. I mean, I'm very
it's a complete package.
Yeah, it's the complete package, 100%.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna throw something very, very crazy. They are in Virginia. Who is from Virginia? The Hangman. I'm seeing him returning tomorrow.
So
that would be awesome.
He's from West Virginia. Yeah, not Virginia, but I think it's
close enough.
No, he's from Virginia.
Mountain Mama.
I'm seeing him returning tomorrow and helping Kevin beat MJF.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, that's what we're all about. We're throwing stuff at the fan, whatever. I don't know what I just said. I'm doing really well tonight. Anyway, yeah.
It's the
Anyway,
Orange Cassidy of podcast trends here, Kelson, for you tonight. Yeah.
There you go. I'm not making when you don't make sense to yourself, you know you're having an off night. Anyway, let's move on to the third title match on AEW Dynamite. This one's kind of interesting. The Divine Dominion against Hikaru Shida and Kris Statlander. I don't think that the result of this match, as it wins and losses, is as important of what's going to happen in this match. I think you know where I'm going with this. Well, I'd like to hear your opinions on this.
Yeah, to me, this match feels like more a vehicle to further sell Hikaru Shida, the future Hikaru Shida heel turn. Like, I think it'll be a good match. It'll probably be competitive, but there will be some kind of miscommunication between Statlander and Shida. Shida will probably be the one that gets pinned, and she'll get mad, kind of tease the kendo stick strike again, but not quite because she hasn't completely lost it yet, like she will, when whatever happens, happens.
I agree.
No, I agree with you that this does feel like a pay-per-view match, and it still could be for Double or Nothing.
I wouldn't say that I like it, but I'm not upset about it. I completely understand what they're doing, and you can't have everyone in the title picture at once, but she's still got something to do. It's still part of the story, and I think I'm enjoying what they're doing with her so far. I kind of agree. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like they have a clear, distinct direction for her. I mean, she's part of this story, and like I said, I think the heel turn comes when Shida and Statlander end up matched against each other in the opening round of the Owen Hart tournament, and Statlander manages to pin Shida. I think that heel turn happens, and then I think you have a nice feud between them.
So I disagree with the idea that she doesn't have a story, mainly because she hasn't said a word in weeks, walks off screen scoffing and pissed off. I think she might be mad that no one is calling her out on attacking Tony. I think she attacked Tony.
It's very interesting. It's possible, too.
I also think she attacked Tony. Tunchi. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that they're giving this its due diligence either. I think it's cooking right now. I think it's more probable tomorrow night that Shida shows more of her heel side. I feel like she's already turned and the signs are already there. Then we're just watching this all her fall apart, not be able to cover herself for very much longer.
Who
kind of a little bit of...
Sorry.
Go ahead, Valerie. Go ahead, Val.
Who said that Shida was going to be pinned tomorrow? Okay. I'm thinking the other way. Statlander is getting pinned, and then Shida turns her back on her.
Definitely plausible. I can definitely see that happening.
There's a lot that could happen. I do want to make out, we haven't given really any opinions about Lita Cross and Megan Bayne. There is one thing I do want to say. I've been really impressed by Lita Cross's mic work. She's really
Kelsey,
good.
Same wavelength, dude. I was super impressed by the promo that she cut. Now, granted, it was recorded, so they could have done takes, but like out of nowhere, I was like, man, she's got the goods.
Yeah, but even if they did do takes, I mean, that's a good way to get someone more comfortable speaking and kind of going through things. And, the more they do that, the less takes it takes, and the more ready they are for, being out there live.
Yeah. Well, I feel
but anyway,
bad.
It's not like a one and done. I'm just saying, Valerie, is that it's not like she did great last week and that was it. She's been pretty impressive for several weeks now on her mic work.
And I feel bad for Penelope because she's injured and she wanted to have the tag team titles with Megan, but seeing them live at Dynasty together, being paired up and having the titles makes, for me, more sense than having Penelope with Megan having the titles. So together, these two, Lena and Megan, I mean, they're good.
They're impressive. Yeah, and
Very
I don't know.
impressive.
I don't know if you saw the Renee Paquette close-up with the Divine Dominion, but they were both just on their game, working off each other in character, just talking, and they knocked it out of the park. I'm real impressed with this team.
This, I couldn't agree more, Kelson. This has just been a match made in heaven. Sometimes you put two people together and they just click, and for whatever reason, they just click, and it's working great. I couldn't agree with you more.
Moving on to the last match, we're going to have Roosh in action. Now, somebody said earlier, I can't remember who it was, predicted that Roosh was going to be the next opponent for Darby Allin. That kind of makes sense. I mean, Roosh could come out and attack Darby before his match. Because I do not believe that the Darby and Brody King should be the main event. I think MJF and Kevin Knight should be the main event. Even the women's match should be the main event. Darby and Brody is a good way to kick off the show, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Is Roosh a good opponent for Darby Allin next?
Yeah, and I think, this is at least the second, I think third time they've had him in action on like Dynamite or Collision, It's a good way to remind folks, hey, this guy is awesome. And, I mean, when you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
No, you get the Hearns, actually.
But yeah, I always like seeing Roosh. Roosh is very fun to watch, and if he's the one who challenges Darby next, all for it.
Yeah. People in the chat are saying it's been an interesting night for Kelson. Yeah, it really has been. Thank you for pointing that out. Rollins, I think that was you that said that. So, and Marcus said that Shida needs to get to the top of the roster. Look, I appreciate everybody's comments in the chat. But we're going to end the show on that note. I appreciate everybody joining in, listening in. Of course, you'll be able to listen to this episode of AEW Collision Ignition. Now I'm making fun of myself.
That's 2 or 3 times you've done that tonight.
No, I did that one on purpose, though. I did do that one on purpose. Okay. The other two were absolutely, brain freezes, loss of brain cells. I don't know what I ate tonight, but it didn't agree with me, apparently. But we are here every Tuesday night at 8:45 Eastern Time for AEW Ignition. We have a lot of fun. Of course, join us on the AEW Fan Hub subreddit. The wrestling, I'm sorry, I didn't look. I went to our old one. Everything Pro Wrestling Hub Discord. You can find the links in the description below. And, just join our community and have some fun. That's what we're about. We're about having fun and getting community members of the AEW Fan Hub community involved. Every one of the podcasters here participating tonight are members of the AEW Fan Hub community who volunteer their time to participate, to share their opinions on the Ignition podcast. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And totally entertaining. Not as entertaining as me falling over my tongue, but entertaining just the same. We will see you again next week for the AEW Fan Hub podcast team. Holy crap. Okay, Shane, bring us, you say it. Just get us out of here.
Good night, Eddie Kingston.
Good night, Eddie Kingston.
Good night, Mina Shirakawa.
Mina Shirakawa. Good night, Dakota Kai.
Good night, Kenny.
That sounds right. Oh, there you go. Miss Omega fan over here. All right, guys.
Boy.
Good night.